Okay. Welcome back to Order Moon, where we're focusing on not just circular economies directly, but also people involved in all things Bitcoin and Nostr. So welcome to Svensky to the show. How you doing?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
We've only just met early at lunch, but I think we got on very well. And I really wanted to...
I hope so.
No, actually, we didn't, Bertie. Yeah. I'm forcing him 10 minutes to chat. Well, I've been onboarded on Satlantis, and I wanted you to just give our viewers a little bit of an idea of what your goal is with Satlantis and a little bit of overview of Nostr and how that integrates into the scheme.
For sure. So the simple way to think about it is we're trying to apply the social graph, which is who you're connected to online, to something other than just more doom scrolling and content, right? So I figure that when you're traveling somewhere and you want to know where to eat, where to go, where to train, what to do, what events to go to, what do? Sure, you can search on Google and you can sit there and build spreadsheets and all this sort of stuff and save 1,000,001 pins on Google and then lose them. Or you can just ask a friend, right? So that we do that in real life. We are actually asking, or we query our social graph in real life to know the best places to go, etc., right? So could we do that in a digital capacity by extrapolating from the connections you have, like your friends, the people you follow? If you follow each other, that's a stronger connection than just a one-way follow, for example. And could we apply that to every time someone recommends a place or bookmarks a place or discovers a place? That puts a weighting onto my ability to see it. So if I come to Bansko now for the first time and I follow you and you've recommended a bunch of places, I've never been here before, I don't know what to do. Instead of me saying, "Oi, Lance, where's the best steak place? Where's the best coffee? Where's this?" I just open the app, and the order of places is influenced by the fact that I follow you, follow him, follow somebody else here in Bansko, and we have shared interests. So now you get this kind of killer feature, which is recommendations based on your social graph. Not for something other than just content, right? Because this is actual places. So you've got a whole map, you've got your pins and collections and all this sort of stuff built around that. So basically, you can think of the app as Google Maps and, say, meetup.com with the intelligence of an Instagram.
Right. So this will make the experience much more personalized than a Facebook page or a Facebook group or anything like that, because I'm trying to get the idea. I onboarded and haven't really played with it yet. How specific it will be for the individual. So when I say I'm into skiing, which I am, how accurate will it be to recommend something for a skier like me and introduce me to the right places?
So I would say right now Facebook will shit all over us. Facebook is way more, because they've got 2 billion people. How the hell are we going to compete with that? It's not going to happen, right? But does Facebook have, and I don't know, I haven't used Facebook for 10 years, so, but does it have a map like Google Maps? No. Does it have bookmarking features and stuff like that? I don't think so, as far as I understand. No. Instagram doesn't have that either. Google has all the bookmarking and the map, but Google doesn't have a social element, right? Yeah. So there's a gap in between. This is sort of the thing. You've got static travel apps on the one hand and maps. On the other hand, you've got these social apps, but social apps have all turned into social media. So you're not going to find what to do there anymore. All you're going to find is what fucking Trump did, who dropped the bomb on who, clickbait here.
It's all attention seeking,
isn't it? It's all fucking engagement, exactly. So there's a massive gap between social and between travel.
I got you.
And we're trying to build a social travel app.
Right.
So that's the killer feature. So in the beginning, to kind of circle back to your question, is are you going to find the best recommendations about skiing in the beginning? No. Right now, we are building that network effect. And this is actually why we're using Nostr, is because there's already 100,000 people on Nostr. So there definitely will be other people who are interested in skiing and Bitcoin and all this sort of stuff. So that initial bootstrapping of the network effect can happen thanks to Nostr. If we had to start without Nostr, we'd start with 0, right? And that's very hard. So at least with Nostr, we start with 100,000.
That's very cool. I didn't realize that. So you're plugging into an existing network that will help people join the network. And I don't know whether this is confidential information. When did the Satlantis start, and where have you got to in terms of numbers?
Yeah, so the initial idea was last year, about 12 and a bit months ago. It was actually, I first announced the idea in BTC Prague in 2024. So this year we released the first public release of the app at BTC Prague 2025. So it's been live for a grand total of 5 days now. We had a bunch of testers and all this sort of stuff over the time. We got a bunch of users in Prague here. So I would say we're probably at like 2,500 Satlantis signups. But because we plug into Nostr, there's technically 120,000 people that have access to Satlantis content.
Brilliant. And Nostr is growing, indeed.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Wow. And you've managed to raise money. How was that? And what directions did that come from, the money? Was it any particular type of investor?
Yeah. So we got some great institutional investors. So we've, I think part of it was because I had run a successful business, Bitcoin company earlier. Mm-hmm. So a couple of my old investors, some new investors who know me and who know that I'm someone who has built stuff, executed. It's not just like a gamble on some no-namer. That helped us close the first checks. And that includes Axiom Capital, which is Alan Farrington, HCM Capital, so Jack Lee. You've got Bitcoin Opportunity Fund, so Larry Lepard, James Lavish, Mark Moss and the guys. We've got Time Chain Capital, so that's Alex Mann, they're out of the UK. Mm-hmm. And then our primary investor, our anchor investor is actually Ross Stevens from NIDIG. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we have a bunch of like Brad Mills and a bunch of angels and all that. So that was the institutional money, and then we have a bunch of angels. Yeah.
Whoa. And are you at Series B now? Or?
No. We're not that old. No. That was a seed. So we did 1.7 million in the seed.
Yeah.
Now we're doing a crowdfund. So we'll go to Series A next year. So we plan to do a 5 million Series A in February or March next year, right? But someone reached out to me, which is Arman, who's a Bitcoiner, Dr. Bitcoin on Twitter. And he started Timestamp, actually, which is an equity crowdfunding platform. So it's a proper regulated, SEC-approved equity crowdfunding platform. Sure. But he's focusing on Bitcoin companies. Mm-hmm. And what this allows is the retail market to invest anything from $250 up to $100,000 into private companies. So now you don't need to be a sophisticated investor anymore. So he reached out to me. He's like, hey, you guys are going to be raising more money? I was like, yeah, we're going to do a Series A next year. Minimum check size $250,000, but we're going to go institutional. He's like, have you ever thought of doing a crowdfund?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, man, you should do this. You have the perfect app for a crowdfund. It's a consumer app.
Because every person becomes your supporter,
exactly,
you see.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's not lost on you. I think this is actually a very good tip for everyone to think of crowdfunding, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Build up your supporters.
Particularly if you've got a kind of app that caters to the crowd. Like if we were doing a B2B app, you wouldn't do a crowdfund. But this kind of thing makes perfect sense.
Yeah, amazing. So you onboarded me just like half an hour ago. And you've got some features coming that look very interesting. Could you let us know what those are?
Sure. So right now the app is still like release 1, version 1. It's very light. Yes, you can put events on there. You can host events. There's no ticketing yet or any of that sort of stuff. You got all the social features, so you can share, you can repost, you can like, you can follow people. So all of that is kind of bare bones. We don't have Zaps yet. That's coming soon. And then we have the merchant tab, which in my opinion is like one of the flagship features. You see a list of places that you could go in it. We cover 6 categories. So restaurants and cafes, health and wellness, nightlife, attractions, event spaces and co-working, and like grocery and farmers markets, right? Those 6 categories. You will see places from whatever city you're in. We don't cover every city. We cover about 120 that are relevant to your interests. Next step, we're going to add bookmarking. So now you can start to save these in your own little collections. So you can do it private. So you can have a private collection, which is, let's say I'm going to Lisbon next week and I want to just save a bunch of places that I want to go check out. But let's say I live in like Buenos Aires in Argentina and I have like my list of top fucking places. I have that collection. I can make that collection public.
Yes.
So if you come and visit me in Buenos Aires, instead of asking me, hey Alex, where do I go? I'll just like, here. Check my collection and you can see. And that collection almost functions like a playlist. People can follow and like the collection. The most popular collections will rise to the top.
I really understand this.
Social, let me see. So the next feature that's coming is collections, and we'll also add ticketing to events. So now it starts to like events feed the app, meetups, the collections and the merchants feed the app, and then the social element feeds the app. So everything starts to create its own hyper
virtuous
network effect.
Circle networking around.
Exactly.
And of course, with the Zap function in Nostr, there must be some ideas to use that, because obviously you're a Bitcoiner, we're Bitcoiners here. This could be very powerful to onboard maybe new people to Bitcoin, to maybe merchants or people who want to accept Bitcoin. How do you see that progressing?
Yeah, man. I mean, let's think about the collections feature again. So let's say you created a great collection and someone's like, this is an awesome collection, I'm going to zap him. Yeah. Or you could even create a collection and make it semi-private, which is you unlock it with a zap.
Gotcha.
So if you're a tastemaker, so let's say you're someone who's like, you collect all the best places, all this sort of stuff. Like, how do you monetize that today as a tastemaker? You can't. Well, you're going to put it on a spreadsheet and put the spreadsheet behind a fucking paywall. It's such a pain in the ass. Like this, you've got it there. People can see. Maybe you've got some free collections, and people are like, okay, I like this person. They're really good. And then you have your premium collection, which is only available for, unlocking for 5,000 sats. I know. So Zaps opens up all of that kind of interesting stuff. We could even potentially do event ticketing with Zaps. I don't know if that's like viable, because I think ticketing requires some other stuff, but Zaps kind of opens up all of that. So it's very interesting.
Super cool, isn't it? Yeah, and a great boost, I think, for Nostr. You're building on that as well. So I think it's a decentralized world, isn't it, really, coming to us?
Well, getting there. I don't know if I would say it's going to be a decentralized world.
No, well, not quite yet, maybe. But,
yeah, the way I would say it is that the world is somewhat decentralized anyway. What the decentralization comes in the form of multiple businesses, so many companies competing in the marketplace. The marketplace is already decentralized. The challenge we have is that you've got these massive incumbents that get money directly from the monetary spigot, as we know, and you get this concentration of companies who then don't need to innovate anymore because they just capture everyone because they have all the money. Bitcoin, I think, will break that, and it's up to us in the meantime, because it's going to take Bitcoin another decade, 2, 3, 4 to smash that. It's up to us to build really cool businesses that the incumbents are not going to build. Google's not going to sit there and build a fucking social graph because they don't care. They've already got Google Maps. They've got every single place on the map in the world there. They don't need to make the thing better. Facebook doesn't give a shit about doing a map because they're already like, okay, Google's done that and we don't need to make our product better. Instagram's not going to do it. So we're going to come in and bridge the thing in the middle for people, because we're on the ground. Like, I'm solving my own problem. So anyway, I'm going off on a rant here, but it's not a decentralized world. It's not a decentralized world, but we are building a better world. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, very cool. Well, we promised 10 minutes, and our 10 minutes is up. I'd just like to make sure that everybody downloads. They go to satlantis.com. .io, forgive me. And when they get there, it's all very obvious what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Download the app, or you can try the web version. The app is way better than the web.
Download the app.
Yeah, the app is ahead of the web.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time once again. And we'll continue our journey on Satlantis, and I'm sure we'll be back next year and we'll have a chat to see how that's going.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.